This is a joke, isn't it?
No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at the most delusional guests on Good Morning Britain, so we're not including Piers Morgan himself.
Ed,
Because people listen to that.
do you
and think,
understand the consequences of what happens when we burn that oil?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10. Dilly Hussein.
But children know they've got, for instance, a mum and a dad.
Yes.
So, and that's not sexualising children. So why not teach that some children have a mum and a mum, or a dad and a dad?
In 2019, there were numerous high-profile protests outside schools, arguing against sex education, including lessons about LGBT people. As Susanna Reid explained, what was being taught was simply that LGBT people exist and have families, bearing in mind that there are probably kids in every class nowadays with same-sex parents.
They're not talking about sex, are they? They're talking
Well,
about the
it is,
relationship.
because you're subscribing to certain sexual gender.
That was it. And yet, one journalist, Dilly Hussein, came on GMB to rave about how children were being propagandized, though he had no children himself.
Is homosexuality, in your view,
A sin?
Yeah, according to the standpoint of my faith.
He said in the same breath that being gay is a sin, but that he's not homophobic, denying that the protests were homophobic in nature. He just wouldn't listen to a word Piers and Susanna said.
I think it's driven not so much for the reasons that you say, but it's driven by homophobia,
No,
right?
I know.
Which is not actually that peaceful.
Number 9. Anthony Dream Johnson. Just what is feminism? Don't ask this bloke, because he doesn't seem to have a clue.
What are you going to teach us at this convention, Anthony Dream Johnson? What will I learn if I pay my $999?
This was one of the speakers at 2020's infamous 22 convention, a far-right convention in the US that aimed to make women great again by getting a bunch of men together to tell them how they should behave. Johnson praised Piers for being opposed to feminism and wokeness, though Piers was quick to correct and say, actually, he does identify as a feminist and believes in equality for men and women.
And I've got some issues with the more radical end of the feminism world, although I personally identify as a feminist in the sense of what it should mean, which is equality for women in all
Watch
things.
out, you're at war with Anthony Dream Johnson.
Laughter could be heard throughout the studio when Johnson compared himself to Barack Obama and called Piers a mansplainer as a compliment. He even said that Susanna was, quote, confused about what feminism was.
I think motherhood is awesome and you should have as many babies as you want and not get bullied by feminists for it.
No, but I am
Which
a feminist.
many of them do now. There are women sticking up for me
I wasn't bullied by
online.
anybody. I had as many children as I wanted and I've got a career.
Number 8. The pickup artist.
Well, Richard, we have 3 English women here. Are they all fat, entitled, stupid? I mean,
I don't know.
What's your view of the women?
You don't know them.
Perhaps best known as the creator and star of the Super Seducer series of video games, which uses full motion video to teach lonely gamers how to speak to women, Richard Laurina appeared on Good Morning Britain to give his views on British women. He called Brits entitled and advised people to target Eastern European countries if they're looking for girls with better manners.
And when you're actually confronted by smart, intelligent, beautiful women, you can't deal with them, can you?
Of course I can. I'm dealing with everyone.
He even said that there just aren't any beautiful women in Britain, and that the ones who are here are actually foreigners. Usually Russian, according to him.
There's no beautiful women in the UK.
No, there are,
I
for
think
sure.
that's racist.
A lot of them are foreign in London, and it's just comparatively, there are way more in Russia.
When Piers challenged him on whether he respects Brits, he crumbled. Number 7. Insulate Britain.
I'm all in favour of peaceful protest, but this is terrifying.
In 2021, Insulate Britain protesters swarmed the M25 and blocked the roads to try and raise awareness for their cause of providing Brits with better insulation to deal with increasingly extreme weather.
No, I understand it. I'm asking about those pictures. How is that helping your cause?
If you understood it, you might start to understand that a little bit more.
A lot of people don't like Insulate Britain though, including Richard Madeley, who wasted no time questioning their actions when a representative appeared on the show. Worse, Liam began by accusing Susanna Reid of being unintelligent and willfully ignorant, refusing to understand what climate change is and why they're protesting.
Homes aren't insulated.
Hang on a moment,
not
sorry.
Going to be.
Is this the case? You're saying you would risk your life for Insulate Britain, but you're not going to insulate your own home?
He then said it was not relevant whether his home was insulated, bizarrely, and the interview ended when he stormed off after a shouting match with Madeley.
And I've had enough of talking to people in this country about what we're doing.
You're doing a Piers.
This is the state of things.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Number 6. Pro-gun activist.
I can't let this go. I'm sorry, Susanna.
We're swinging back to the far right this time, as pro-gun activist Dan Roberts reappeared on the show to talk about how he still didn't think firearms should be banned in the wake of the devastating 2016 Pulse shooting in Orlando. Roberts decided to blame Obama and Muslims for what happened, completely dismissing the idea that powerful assault rifles might have something to do with America's gun crime.
But I'm more, at this point, place blame on the Obama administration for failing to call this what it is.
Yet again, Piers made his point about Kinder eggs, which are banned in the US because they're a choking hazard, and said it's absurd that chocolate eggs are banned, but automatic weapons for civilian purchase aren't.
The Kinder egg is a complete red herring.
Roberts also brought up the UK's knife crime stats, though the US actually has worse knife crime rates than the UK.
All of that is horrifying and will be discussed. But the fact of the matter is, he had 2 guns.
Number 5. Nigel Farage.
All of it, to me, was woefully irresponsible.
No. End this nonsense.
Like Piers Morgan, Farage inexplicably seems to consider himself a close personal friend of Donald Trump, though we doubt that Trump gives either of them that much thought.
Do not allow your viewers to believe that.
We literally all heard him, Nigel. What are you talking about?
Are you seriously telling me that he said bleach?
Yes.
Do you not remember?
You are wrong.
In this interview, the two came to blows over Piers saying that, during the pandemic, Trump suggested that people ought to inject themselves with cleaning solutions to kill the virus in their bloodstream, something that absolutely nobody should do under any circumstances. Farage, however, thought this was slander and hadn't happened.
Grow up, stop being fake news.
Okay. Sorry, Nigel, just to clarify, these are the words of Donald Trump.
Grow up and stop being fake news. He never said bleach.
GMB producers dug out the clip and played it twice for Farage, and he still kept denying that it had ever happened, accusing ITV of completely fabricating the recording.
Sorry, Nigel, have I made that up?
Yes.
Okay.
We just saw the clip.
No, it's okay.
Number 4. Trophy hunters.
In one picture, she's clutching the heart of a giraffe. In others, she seems to be glorifying in the killing of these animals.
One type of person Piers Morgan can't stand is trophy hunters, and many times during his tenure on ITV did he bring them on to argue with them. But most absurd of all was one man who'd indoctrinated his 12-year-old daughter into also advocating for big game hunting, appearing on the show to talk about their love of blood sports.
I like hunting big game the way I do because it's something that my family has done for a long time and it puts food on our table.
The argument didn't make much sense either. They talked about how hunting animals puts food on the table, which could be true, but probably not when the animals you're hunting are zebras and giraffes over in Africa.
Unfortunately, I think it's just lack of education. People don't understand the conservation aspects.
They even try to claim that they're hunting for conservation reasons, i.e. limiting population growth, but giraffes and zebras are vulnerable and endangered respectively. Number 3. Just stop oil.
Sorry, that is completely unjustified.
It's not giving the climate crisis the care
Laura
that it deserves.
Tobin covers this in a way that is completely unrivaled amongst other broadcasters. So I think that is a little bit unfair.
More protesters. This time it was the latest group of eco-warriors, Just Stop Oil, a group made by the same bloke as Insulate Britain on the show.
Is there a point, do you think, when lives could be lost? I mean, to sit on a Formula One racetrack, they were still on the track, the drivers.
Just Stop Oil has perhaps proven to be even more unpopular, as they've moved on from blocking roads to vandalising landmarks and works of art, everything from painting Stonehenge orange to smashing the case of the Magna Carta. This time Ed Balls was hosting, with a Just Stop Oil activist on to explain why they'd blocked the tracks during the British Grand Prix in 2022. He didn't storm out of the studio, but he did repeatedly attack ITV for not talking about climate change enough, which Susanna Reid took personal issue with.
James, sorry, Laura Tobin does do that every day. I'm sorry, I will not have the fact that we don't cover climate change properly on this programme.
Certainly not to the degree that you should.
Number 2. Imperial Measurements.
This is part, I hope, of a wider trend of rolling back EU red tape where we choose to do so, because Parliament now has the legal right to do that.
One thing that we could supposedly do post-Brexit was bring back Imperial Measurements, without the tyrannical European Union saying we have to measure everything in litres and kilograms.
But there's an important point of principle here, which is that now we've left the EU.
On the show were Tory MP Mark Francois and Green Party peer Jenny Jones, with Francois leading the calls to bring back Imperial now that we'd left the EU. He ranted about how we needed to start enacting our own laws again, even though it's never been illegal to sell things with Imperial Measurements, and anybody can do it as long as they also use metric.
What it did was it brought home to ordinary Britons the extent to which, at that time, EU law transcended British law. That
joke was on him though, because when the public was consulted, over 80% wanted to keep metric as our main measurement system. Number 1. Mr. Broccoli.
You don't go about your daily business as a piece of broccoli.
I've always been a piece of broccoli.
Another group of protesters who earned the ire of the British public in years gone by was Animal Rebellion, an offshoot of Extinction Rebellion. And its most famous activist was, undoubtedly, Mr. Broccoli, who was filmed being arrested during a protest. He was then asked on to Good Morning Britain as Mr. Broccoli, turning up in costume and talking about, well, broccoli.
Well, peas, a plant-based food
Are you
system
calling Piers peas?
Well, yeah.
Why?
I thought it'd be quite nice.
It soon descended into Piers yet again complaining about how much he dislikes plant-based food and thinks all vegans are inherently unhealthy, which really put Mr. Broccoli on the spot. Then again, he wasn't a scientist, just a carpenter from Bristol dressed up as a vegetable on national television.
It's a serious
Are you actually not part of Animal Rebellion and Extinction Rebellion at all, but somebody who's trying to send up the whole movement? Because I'm not sure you're going to win.
Let us know in the comments if you still watch Good Morning Britain now that Piers has left.
You think these debates benefit from people dressing up as a broccoli?
I think it got him noticed and it's got him on television.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.